Welcome. This is RiaTalk for real people, where we're always keeping it real about real life. And here's your host, Maria.
Hey, hello. Welcome to Real Talk. This is Real Talk for real people. You ready to get real? Are you ready to get real? Okay, so one more time. Are you ready to get real? Let's talk.
You sounded like you're a little tired there in the beginning.
Well, we do what we do. Type A personality. I'm doing 100 things before noon. But all is well. We're blessed, and where's the highly favored?
Blessed and highly favored.
Yes. Today we're going to talk about forgiveness. If I took a title, and I believe I will, we'll call it Forgive and Not Forget. Like I said, forgive and forget. We're going to talk tonight about forgiveness.
Okay. So forgiveness, what about it?
Yeah, we want to talk about what forgiveness is. Forgiveness means you're choosing to let go of the negative feelings behind why you're holding, like you're holding a grudge against someone, or holding negative feelings towards someone for some negative impact they had on your life. You choose not to be angry anymore, or resentful. You also choose not to exact your own revenge on that person. I often remember the scripture that says, "Vengeance is mine," said the Lord, "and I shall repay." And people, non-believers, love to call God the universe. I say that the universe, which is God, what goes around comes around. What you put into the universe come back. You reap what you sow. That is the vengeance. It is God's. God has put it in, just like he makes the earth spins around the sun, just the way he does gravity on the earth. The consequences of your behavior, that is what a lot of people might call vengeance, or God's retribution. Not me. That belongs to God. But it's up to me. And forgiveness, like love, is a choice. And I'm just thinking about, people love to say forgive and forget. Well, I'm here to say, unless you got dementia or Alzheimer's, you don't ever forget. I always say, look, get the lesson. There's a lesson to be learned. There's this saying. I love these little quick saying because it's easy for you to remember. Listen, people, under the sound of my voice, get these quick little snapbacks, because it'll help you in your life to remember. When you say forgive and forget, no, you cannot forgive and forget. You can forgive, but you don't forget. When you remember, you don't have the pain of it. You don't have the anger of it anymore. You let the consequences, leave that up to God or the universe, whichever you choose to believe in. And God is the creator of the universe and the principles. See, vengeance, or reaping what you sow, that is one of God's principles that cannot be broken. If you sow an apple seed, and when you reap, at some point you're going to reap an apple tree. And if God blessed the apple tree to be productive, it would produce more apples. So this is what I'm talking about tonight: to get the lesson and lose the pay.
Now, I feel like this is a very timely topic because, I dabble in pop culture. And they were just talking about this on the Breakfast Club about people forgiving and about forgiveness. And, I always hear this. People say that they're forgiving because it's more for themselves than it is for the other person. What is your stance on that?
I think that is very true. When you are full of anger, full of resentment, and wanting vengeance, that's negatively impacts. Unforgiveness impacts your body, your emotions, and maybe even your ability to think clearly, because you're so full of the desire for revenge. I always say again, I'm going to say it again, get the lesson, lose the pain. And, but when I say lose the pain, I want everybody to know that I clearly understand forgiveness is also a process.
100%.
It's not a one off. It
Mm.
is a process. And you must go, every individual, you must go through your own journey. Some people can get over things quickly. And one reason we can get over some things quickly and not others, it depends on how deeply you were injured, and how you felt about it. I know some people get a divorce from their spouse, and the spouse become their best friend, or the spouse's new wife become their best friend. I used to say, oh man, these people are crazy. They're good friends after divorce. Now I haven't been married for over 25 years or so. I have seen that. I can see now. That was in my youth when I was like, oh, I couldn't even be my husband's friend if we got a divorce. I couldn't even be the friend to his next girlfriend or next wife. But now in my mature state, I believe I can do it. I believe I can fly up to the sky and have enough forgiveness, enough power to move on. Because one of my mantras that I say, if he brought me to it, he brought me through it. He'll bring me through it. So far, he has, out of all these years of living, he hasn't let me down. And there's a purpose for your pain. So, but I still say to people, don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness is a process. And first time I heard this, they give this credit to other authors now. But when I first heard it, it was regarding slavery, Jim Crow, and all of these things that have been perpetrated against Black people, the oppression in America against Black people. I heard Carter G. Woodson say, he that forgets the past is destined to repeat it. See, you will repeat it if you don't get the lesson. I had a great pain, and I still have a great pain, and I'm going through the forgiveness process. I'm not there yet. And like I said, it's not a one-off. But so I asked God, what is the lesson? Like Oprah said, she always asks, okay, what is my next best move, my next best step? My thing I always ask God is, God, what is the lesson here? Because I know you always mean, and I may get a little choked up.
Mm-hmm.
You always mean everything that happens to me for my good. But please help me to see the lesson, to get the lesson and lose the pain.
Right.
I hope I answered your earlier question. Could you repeat that question? I want to make sure I answer that question.
I think you did. The question was, that I always hear people say that forgiveness, when they are forgiving someone, it's usually more for themselves than for the other person. And I just
It
wanted to know
always is.
your take
Yes.
on that.
Yes, it always is. It's for you. It's for you. Even the fact that it happened to you. You say, what is the lesson? What did I learn going through this? I learned that all children don't love their mothers. I learned that some children love their mother, and I learned that I was refreshing my memory that people have different love tanks.
Wait, what exactly are we talking about?
We're talking about forgiveness, but I'm talking, but when the injuries happen to you from a loved one,
Take
I
it.
was talking about my mom
Mm-hmm.
and how bitter I am with my sisters over the treatment of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that some of them did not love her,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them did love her. But they had like a 5 gallon love tank when she needed a 10 gallon love tank.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a 3 gallon love tank and she needed a 10 gallon. And I was her only child that possessed a 10 gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So you accept people in their space and time, and that's part of the forgiveness. I'm learning. I'm seeing my siblings in a different way. I think that's part of the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to see them, and I have seen them. I know exactly who they are for the first time in my life, and I still love them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't like them because I don't like anybody that can't love their parents, can't
Mm-hmm.
honor the Bible says, honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long on this earth, that the Lord thy God giveth thee. They did not honor my mom, and that was very painful for me to see it and know it in her last days on this earth,
Mm-hmm.
how she was treated by all of her children except my sister Tina and I. And but it's okay. Forgiveness is a process. Get the lesson, lose the pain. I still want to say forgiveness, like love, is a choice. I choose to forgive. I choose to keep loving. I love my siblings. I don't like most of them. I don't like who they are as people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I choose to forgive. I want to let you know what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not forgetting that the injury happened. It is not letting some person off the hook or let them get away with injustice. Forgiveness also is not letting the person out of the consequences. You know, people make choices, but you do not choose the consequences. God will choose the consequences of your behavior. God is your judge, and not me. That's why I must forgive, I must love, and I do forgive and I do love, but it's a process. I thank God that I'm healing. But I want people to know, and I'm going to say it again, forgiveness, like people say, forgive and forget. That is crazy talk. Do not drink the Kool-Aid. Remember what happened. Remember it. And so you can avoid it. It's just like going down the street and you know there's a vicious lion down the street. At first you didn't know that. You came down that street and you saw that lion. You had to decide, oh, how am I going to get away from this lion? He's dangerous. I'm scared. And then some lucky person comes along with a weapon that protects you. So next time you come down that street, you already know that the lion is there. So what do? You take a different path, or you take a weapon with you if you must go down that road. So you get the lesson and you lose the pain. So these are some of the things I want to make sure that I get, is that I convey to my listeners. Forgiveness is a process. There's no such thing, unless you have dementia or Alzheimer's, that you should forget. You should remember it. I just love, when I was a little girl, I want to share this with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was in middle school when I first heard about the Holocaust and all the things and the breaking of the glass. I was in awe of the Jewish community, that they would do something physically to help them remember, because during the Holocaust, when the Jewish store owners was there, their storefronts would get broken, and they would say, we never forget. They would never forget. And I hope they're still reminding themselves and other people, never forget. That was a horrific thing that happened. For me as a Black person, I must always remember slavery and Jim Crow. Never forget. Lose the pain. Get the lesson. What must I do to make sure this never happens again? Get the lesson. Lose the pain.
Now, I wanted to go back for a quick second because you said that forgiveness is a process, and some people, there's lots of egregious things that happen to them, right? How do you keep working through the process when something so bad has happened to you?
You're going to nature. Nature's going to bring you through the process. Really, you could choose how you come out of the process. You
Hmm.
could choose how long you're going to be in that process, in that negative space. But see, if you do what I suggest, as what I advise, get the lesson, lose the pain, and this is how you lose the pain. Like you said, bad things have happened, horrific things that happen to people.
Mm-hmm.
People been tormented, tortured, injured down to their soul. I was injured to my soul.
Mm-hmm.
And but you know, I'm a witness. I can testify that I am healing. When you start looking at people, Jesus wept. He was so filled with compassion upon people that wanted him dead, wanted him to go to the cross. And he did go to the cross. They didn't know that was his purpose. They thought they were hurting Jesus. They were fulfilling God's purpose for his life. But what I'm saying is get the lesson, lose the pain. And when you start seeing that people, for me, one of my process has been seeing that the frailty of humans. Maybe perhaps I expected too much. Sometimes when your expectations of people, like I told you, some people got 3 gallons love tank. Some people have 2 gallon love tank. Some people don't own a tank at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're narcissists, psychopath, whatever. They just love themselves. But once you realize that, you accept it. Accept people for that space and time. I have a sister that I know she loves just herself, and she didn't love my mom. And I accept that. That is who she is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making excuses for her. It's just like I always tell people. They're like, "Oh, you got to forgive your sister. You know, you got to forgive." You right. As a Christian, I am required to forgive. But again, forgiveness is a process. The pain of it, I got to lose the pain, and I'm losing it. I'm losing the pain. I'm not there yet. It's like we say, forgiveness is not a one-off. That means it's not, we're going to have a kumbaya and I'm going to give you a hug. Even if I did all that, we had a kumbaya and I gave you a hug and said, I forgive you, yeah, blah, 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 blah. The pain is not going to leave right then. It may even be the beginning of the process of forgiveness. You can't do anything without a desire. It's saying, telling someone to verbalize, I forgive you, and hug them if you want to. That is starting the process that you're able to even do that. That's your desire to want. And when you want to do something, you're more likely to accomplish your goal. I want to forgive. I want to get the lesson and lose the pain. And that's that.
Well, it's funny that you say that because that's what Charlemagne was talking about, that forgiveness is not linear, that it's not a one direction where, like you said, you're going to give a hug and come together and then you're just going to move on. You might forgive them that day and the next day it might not feel so the same. And then you forgive them again. And so, I really
It's
think
not
that.
about forgiving. Once you realize who people are in your life and what they are, it's almost like if you know you got a pit bull and he's vicious,
Mm-hmm.
you do what you have to do. Like people say, oh, they're not vicious. They may not be. But the one you have is vicious. He bit you and you his owner. So
Mm-hmm.
what would I do if I had a pit bull that bit me and I know he's vicious? My fingers got to be healed. I would take him uh, to the shelter, the what do you call it, the dog shelters,
Mm-hmm.
and turn him in. I can't trust him anymore. Vicious, wicked killers must exist, but they don't have to exist in your house. A rattlesnake, another poisonous snake, they must exist. They serve their purpose on the earth. God have them here for a reason, but they can't exist in my house. They can't exist as a so-called friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Once you know who people are, govern yourself accordingly. Don't keep saying, "Oh, I wish they would change." Don't waste your time. You change your position to that person. You may say hello. You may see them in a family gathering, give them a hug, hello. But that person is who that is maybe a snake, a vicious scorpion, a pit bull, whatever, any vicious animal that can hurt you, even kill you. You keep your eye on it, and you stay safe distance from that danger. You remember, you put in your mind, danger, danger. You just know this person is not going to change. That's who they are. It's not for me to change them. It's for me to change myself and to protect myself and accept them for who they are. Because I know God must have a purpose for their lives.
Mm-hmm. Any last words before we wrap this up?
Yes. I kind of thought of Monique. Monique always said my babies,
Mm-hmm.
and I like when she says that. But what I like to say to my audience, and I hope they hear me very well, because we all gonna go through this one day where we will have to forgive the unforgivable. Forgiveness is a choice, and it is a process and not an event. It's not a oh, I forgive you and it's over. It is a process. And your process is unique to you. Whether it takes you months, years, it's your process. Go through it. And I wish you love and happiness and blessings.
Okay. Well, that's it for RiaTalk, where we're always keeping it real about real life. Please leave your comments and your compliments on our Instagram at RiaTalk. And please if you liked what you heard, follow, and subscribe. And we will see you next week.